Okay, so this is my end of day recap or trade recap for Monday. Um, I traded during the driver, and of course I lost, but I risk half that I normally risk, which is 150, but I risk a little bit more because I kind of had to. Either I was risking 180 or I was risking 120, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just do 180. It's all good. But with like commissions and all that, it became 200. So yeah. So going into today, I mean the daily is pretty clean, honestly, for what price should do. Um, Clearly had this reversal displacement away, which confirms the reversal with gaps. And last week fell shy of these highs, leaving equal highs. Very clean. As you can see, we traced away because it's feather swings. And retrace into this gap, right? This gap should cap off the retracement. We have no SMT with the gap. All assets trade into the gap. Um, but we do have SMT within the gap being swing point SMT here. And so late in the week, price retraced into the gap and reversed away from it. Pretty much creating C2 here, right? So we can assume next week should open up and expand at that point. If we manipulate late in the week, next week can should open up early on and expand, right? So essentially the framework here would be internal to external, and I'm trading Monday C3 continuation technically because of the S&D. So if Monday is going to create C3 continuation and respect the bullish bias, then price must ideally open lower and respect the upper half of pre-range, where I want to see the wick of Monday's candle print or form within the upper half of this candle's range. So dropping out of the 4-hour to refine that killable if it's a 4-hour gap. It's clearly not a 4-hour gap, right? Today does open higher at first. I think this was actually, I forgot about this. This was technically strength switch second stage SMT because we had SMT fill here at one point. We held that. I'm gonna do this because it's gonna be cleaner. We held that and created strength switch second stage SMT, and then all assets displace away. All the line looks like shit. But very clearly NQ displaces away and still has the drawn liquidity open. So I'm still bullish until we reach that, or until we show otherwise. Like if price clearly doesn't respect this range and it displaces lower to reach for this low. But at that point, there would be no framework unless like one of these assets take out this high. There'd be no framework, so I wouldn't trade the initial reversal or the continuation. I'd have to wait for asset sync at that point. But we've seen today does open higher at first, which is not ideal. It's clearly an open high. And then we've seen let's go into the driver. So that's the strength switch. Displacement away is pretty wicky though, which is kind of confirmed with no gaps on the 4-hour. So there's no 4-hour gap for the refined level, then it has to be a 1-hour swing low within pre-range, which is the current day low, right? So if I want to see today continue from previous day's range, right, and I want to see it respect EQ, the upper half. If there's no 4-hour gap, then it has to be a 1-hour swing low, which is current day low, right? So right now, there's really no framework. There's no reversal lower. So if we don't take out this low to go higher, I say we just go higher, then I'm not going to trade continuation away from a gap. I'm going to wait for asset sync. Like maybe this asset trades in this high and that trade lag and asset sync continuation to break that SP. But price does come back. ADM reaches that current low, which is the refined kilo. That's the low. This is the kilo that I want to form, that I want to frame the low day away from. Which we don't have news today or this week. It looks like. Let me make sure of that. Yeah, we do on Wednesday CPI, but not on Monday. So yeah. So I mean, this has to be the only area. I mean, like we hit this level prior to 9:30. 9:30 should expand away. And we create SMT with this low. Right, here's the SMT here. Let's go to YM. YM is like just stuck in consolidation. Super shitty PA, but NQ and ES are fine. But yeah, we create SMT with the slow with YM and ES, but YM ends up breaking that SMT when heading into the driver. So we create that strength switch second stage SMT via swing point. So I have everything I need. This SMT break. Just like strength switch second stage SMT into SMT break combined together. So I mean, right now the daily's aligned. We have that small wick. Although the daily profile is ass, it's a delayed profile, which is not ideal. Automatically, that makes today lower probability, but it's still valid. And the 4-hour is not aligned because it doesn't support the bull expansion. We have that large wick, but I can mechanically fade that because I'm positioning myself down here, which is in discount. Right, I want to position myself. Ideally, my entry should be at EQ or below, and I want my stop loss in discount in this area. So it's valid to mechanically fade that for our candle. And then when I run 30 minutes aligned, right, we got the C2, which GXT reverse sequence confirms the low of the 6-4 candle. So everything's aligned. I have the swing switch second stage SMT at the reversal, so I can trade the initial 7 points away from this key level, right? C2, C3, C4, etc. So now we actually have proper framework to form the low day, etc. So, which is very important. So jumping on to the 5 minute, all I have to see now is a clean V shape within this C2. Like if we put in the reversal prior to 9:30, what do I want to see 9:30 do? Expand. Which I didn't trade 9:30 right away. I didn't take the entry right away. I waited for extra confirmation because I didn't really trust this range to hold. Which is even more crazy why I got fucking stopped out. Does not make sense, but it just shows that today was ass fucking horrible PA. But should have happened here. But it's automatically valid for sure. And you know, if you think about like bearishness, like we understand the narrative why we should be bullish because of the feather sticks up here, you know, everything, right? But bearishness literally makes no sense. We have no SMT with these highs. So we know that when today opened higher here, with this high here, this movement lower, this displacement lower is not valid. This is not a valid reversal. It's more of a retracement because we didn't hit anything at a premium to confirm the high day. So this is unestablished high day. So I'm just viewing this as retracement since it's opposing my bias. So this strength switch second stage SMT should cap off the retracement from the low day. We should just blaze away from that, especially during the driver. Like it has to happen in the driver, ideally. If it doesn't happen in the driver, then scratch today being bullish, honestly. Probably wouldn't want, probably shouldn't trade. And so 9 EM C2, 930 C3. And we do have that clean V shape away from the strength switch during C2. And I don't know what I took exactly. I think I took this. Waited for this here. All assets are V-shaping higher during 9:30. Look at that. I was thinking like, okay, whatever asset provides the cleaner entry, I'll probably just take that asset. Clearly, NQ is providing a cleaner entry, and I think I took it like this. I took it during this. I took it off the CC because I didn't get the entry immediately right here, and then price expands higher first. I was like, fuck that, I'm waiting for a retrace. So I did that. Put my stop here, and I was targeting this high, current high. Because of the daily profile, we know that it's like seek and destroy. It's going to be today's going to have a hard time expanding beyond the extremes of the current day range. So current high is semi-drawn liquidity. And then as you can see, price. Oops. 1 minute. Price expands higher, and then it retraces, provides my entry, and then it takes my right away. So invalidation. Now we're not creating that string switch, which actually didn't happen there. That wasn't the string switch. It was right here. But we actually formed that string switch here, right here. And then what do? We V-shaped. That was technically the CST here. All assets V-shaped away. Super clean. I mean, like, A+, everything's valid. So, valid loss for sure. It's all good. And then, going into 10 a.m., I didn't see this because I took that loss. I was like, I took a breather. I stepped away. I was like, fuck. I wasn't really annoyed. I was just like, I honestly knew that shit was going to happen. I was like, it's during the driver. That's why I risk half. I know that even when it's clean, the driver can do some stupid shit like this. It's lower probability no matter what because of the high volatility that the driver has usually. And it's going to do some stupid shit like this. And we create this string switch like this with YM. It's cleaner. That or with ES. Maybe it's cleaner. It's kind of like that. It's pretty weird, but yeah, just pretty much that low. Current low. Right, like that. And I was like, okay, that could be valid going into 10 a.m. We close like that. So this is a GXT continuation sequence. 10 a.m. is opening up with an aligned swing, and we have within this 30-minute swing point a string switch, second stage of D. So it's still valid to trade the initial swing points away from the key level, the reversal rate. But also on the hourly, we have that string switch, second stage PSV with YM. Right. Once weaker, now stronger, bullish, bearish closure. Right. So nevertheless, we even have the string switch on the hourly. 10 a.m.'s opening up within that, so it should just sort of expand. If price manipulates previous session, the next session should open up and expand. So that could be valid. Look up in that CT2, we have that V shape. We technically do, but the CST is right here, technically. It's right here. It would be right here. So it's like right when 10 a.m. opens up, we gotta see price form that. And all assets are again V-shaping away from that string switch. So 10 a.m. opens up, creates that CST. So that could have been a possible re-entry. Well, like I said, I didn't see this. I stepped away for like 10 minutes. Pretty much like going into like right here, 10, maybe 10, 15. I saw it and I was like, okay, well, that could have been a possible entry, but again, I didn't like it. I didn't like re-entering mainly because of the risk. I already lost $200, and my max risk is 300, and I want to lose more than 350 on the day. So I made a new rule actually after this. After I took this loss, I was like, it's actually smart to demand only risking 150. Like I should have taken that instead of risking 180. I should have done 120. Because the commission, if I got stopped out, it would have been around 150 or more like 130, 140. So at that point, I could re-enter later on with 200 risk. So that means I'm only risking max, or I'm only losing 350. So my daily loss limit, my max daily loss limit would be 350. So let's say if I did do that, everything's valid here, right? We technically have the string switch second stage SMT at the reversal. I can't fucking speak all this shit. The daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the misaligned rate. Everything, this is still valid to take. So like taking off the closure, stop, I would say right there, shoot for the current eye. Shoot for risking $200 to gain 600. could be valid. We've seen price do this, can't go break even yet. This is a 15-minute gap on ES here. This low here. So I can't trail my stop to the low because there's a reason to return back to the low. And honestly, ES is stronger. But I like NQ's delivery more, so I would still trade NQ. It already looks like ES is probably going to reach a high first, being current day high. So hopefully we V-shape if we do. But going into I would say it probably would be valid to trail to break even once ES took this out here. So it's like right when we take this out right here, I'm gonna break even 100%. And hopefully we just expand. We don't, we shoot lower. And that reaction away from this high was not clean because I wanted to trade. I was mainly focused on trading NQ or maybe YM as the lagging asset in continuation to break the S&P with current high. That's like mainly what I was waiting for. And the fact that we reacted pretty strongly away from that, not really clean. Like that's something you would want to see for bullish. And so that would have taken you out at break even anyways. So if I did take that. And now this looks like shit, right? Because you know we have S&P here, which looks like filler S&P. Because what did OLS do at the reversal? They technically at first, you know, they displaced higher, but now I can't really say that with how NQ looks. And then look at YM. YM looks so fucking wicky. Still stuck with this within this consolidation. So yeah, it's pretty shit. No gap. ES has gap, so we actually trade into this gap and create strength switch VS and we fill on YM right here. But again, I don't like NQ's delivery here. This is just ass. And the main reason why I don't like this as well is because what all assets did after 4 minutes S&T, right? You would want to see the leading asset fill to manipulate this high, right? We shouldn't have created a C2 like that very strongly. You know, if we look on the lower time frame, that's clearly a V-shaped signature away from that. So you wouldn't want to see that. So I really don't trust that strength switch right here. So I waited. I was like, okay, we'll wait. I waited till like 11:30. We didn't do shit. Like, we're just leaving these lows on NQ. So I was like, I would have to wait for displacement higher at that point. And I just stepped away. I was like, I don't really like this PI. I don't know what we have done yet. We're just chopping. So I mean, looks like yes is just respecting S&P and not respecting discount raise. Clearly wanted to catch up to NQ below current day low. But yeah, so it doesn't align with my bias, so I really don't care about that. But so realistically, the low day should have formed during the driver. Obviously, the fact that we didn't do that kind of made today really unclean. Technically, we did though. From the low day, we just chopped. And potentially the price could have taken me out and then ran towards my take profit going to Tenium, where Tenium possibly, you know, provided a re-entry. But price nevertheless would have taken you out of break even and just chopped for the rest of the day. So just really shit PA. So that's pretty much my thought process when heading into today, what I wanted to see, what price did, and how I reacted to what price did. So yeah. Let me go over this too, real quick. Was the outcome of the trade a win or a loss, right? So is this a trade you would take again without knowing the outcome was a loss? Yes, 100%. And it was a good loss, right? Was there any logical way to avoid this loss in the moment? No. Maybe I could have demanded it, you know, because we formed that S&T during the driver. Formed that shit. Technically, probably right. Yeah, because we 9:30. Did that, yeah, prior to 9:30. No, 9:30 opened up and created that CSD away from the string switch, but maybe I could have waited for some displacement higher and then just entered off a gap and then had my stop at like EQ this wick or rejection block. Just demanded just a little bit more confirmation, but I just didn't want to do that because if I'm entering like way up here, which who knows if I'm even going to be able to get that entry, and my stop is right here, which you know what, it really doesn't matter. If I don't get the entry, then I could just try continuation on the 1 hour 30 minute. I shouldn't be demanding this, like, but I didn't really like the RR too much because I'm risking half. So, but yeah, in reality, maybe I could have demanded a little bit more confirmation, like displacement away. That would have saved me a loss, I guess. But again, it was still valid. What specifically was done well in this trade, despite the outcome? Following my bias, staying patient for what I wanted to see. You know, simple as that. Like it's the same every day, really. Not really sure. Were emotions controlled after this losing trade was realized? Yeah, I stepped away. You know, I didn't really care. Honestly, I didn't really think too much about it. It is what it is. I really could care less. I was more mad about the fact that I'm not able to risk full at that point, the full amount, $300 going in. You know, if I were to re-enter, going into 10 a.m. So that kind of like stopped me from really wanting to trade at that point because I lost 200 instead of 150. So I was like, I don't want to risk 150. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's just really gonna be. I'm not gonna be that much, but I mean, in reality, it would have been fine. But and then after what 10 a.m. did here, and I missed that going into 10 a.m. I was like, okay, gonna wait for async. Okay, yes, reached that high. And then what we did here after that was just ask. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm probably not gonna trade today. So, so I guess another thing I did good at is just staying away from shit PA, knowing when price is asked and just stepping away from it, not really forcing trades, right? Feeling, you know, not letting my emotion control me, and not letting FOMO control me, right? Same thing. So yeah, all good. It's only Monday, so. But today was, you know, the daily bias. Everything was clean. I swear. But anyways, one thing I want to talk about though too that I've learned recently, that I've been struggling with. Let me see if I can explain it. Well, simply. Like, you know, what I've been working on mainly, right, is building narrative, staying true to that narrative, that bias. Not just pattern trading, you know, the reversal continuation and having the daily 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute line with it. But understanding why price should expand lower and higher, truly, logically. But one thing I've been struggling with is like the refined key level, essentially, right? Framework, right? It all comes back to the basics: framework on all time frames, mainly the daily and 4 hour to frame the high and low day. And one thing I've learned from GXT, especially from this video here, is GXT went over how to approach PA when framework is lower. It's just shit, lower probability, and there's like pretty much no framework. And at that point, if price doesn't really trade into a prominent key level, there's no framework at that point. And so you can't trade the initial reversal away from it, nor continuation. You have to wait for async. You have to trade a lot. You have to wait for the leading edge to trade into an actual key level, the draw on liquidity essentially, and then trade the lagging as a continuation to catch up. Right, that's the way you would approach shitty framework, and that's important to be mindful of when from the high to low day, obviously, in general, overall. But and what else? Let me think about this. Oh, also, if like the daily narrative isn't really clean, right? That's essentially typically when you would heavily rely on async on the 1 hour 30 minute. But I learned that GXT really uses the 4 hour at that point for framework, which makes sense. and I haven't really been mindful of that. So that's gonna help me out massively. I can already tell. That has unlocked a lot for me. So um, instead of just aimlessly looking for kilos on the 1 hour 30 minute, obviously 4 hour. Sometimes the 4 hour won't be clean, and then maybe you won't trade at that point. But at that point, maybe just trade as sync. What I said before. If there's no prominent kilo at that point, then yeah, trade as sync. But yeah. Anyways, let's make end of day recap or trade recap. Um, Simple loss, valid loss. I didn't lose much. Wasn't even max risk. Only $200. I'm not really salty about it. So Gucci onto the next day. And I'm gonna go fucking ham. I really don't give a fuck anymore. I'm going fucking ham. Every trade I see, I'm taking. I don't give a fuck. I'm no hesitation. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna be stupid with it, but logical. Stupid in a way where I'm gonna be uh not like I'm gonna be breaking my rules and shit, but I'm gonna be like just risking it more. Stupid in a way where I just won't overthink it, pretty much.